third year onwards, I have started preparing for my placements.
Hello everyone, I am Cheryl Topil and I'm back with another episode of Crack It, all about campus placements. And today we have with us a very vibrant and dynamic person who is currently placed in Accenture. We have with us Samruddhi Naukudkar, who is currently in her final year of engineering in Electronics and Telecommunication Department. Talking about Samruddhi, Samruddhi is a university ranker, currently a project intern at DRDO, and has been associated with the Training and Placement Cell as Training and Placement Student Executive for the last 2 years. So, hi Samruddhi, how are you doing?
Yeah, hello Cheryl. I'm fine. What about you?
I'm doing perfect. Great to have you with us. I think there is no one more credible than you to be here with us today. So we'll move on to the main part of this video, that is your journey to Accenture. So first and foremost, Samruddhi, did you apply for Accenture on campus or off campus? Does Accenture come to RSCOE?
Yeah, so like I applied Accenture on campus. So Accenture came to our campus. So I applied it for on campus.
Okay. Okay, great. So what were the roles and packages that Accenture was offering to our college?
Okay, so there were two packages. One was like 4.5 LPA and another advanced one, 6.5 LPA. So based upon your like round judgments as well as your interview, they give you the packages and the roles.
Okay. So, Samruddhi, before applying, were there any forms that you were required to fill or documents or something? Is there a formality that we need to do?
Yes, Cheryl. So like for every company, not only Accenture, like every company, we have to submit our necessary documents, which includes our some of the ID cards, PAN cards. So PAN card is one of the mandatory document for the Accenture, whether it is in digital form or scanned copy of hard copy. So it is mandatory document. So PAN card is one of the mandatory document. Yeah.
Okay. So, Samruddhi, you have been in the training and placement cell for some time. So, what are the mistakes that students do while filling the forms? Or is there anything the students need to be very careful while filling forms? Not only for Accenture, but in general also.
Yeah, so like I have been working in training and placement cell from my third year, and I have observed like many students make mistakes while filling the form, like for their date of birth, their name, or like the email addresses. So I suggest students that whatever contact information, for example, mobile numbers or email addresses, so company will contact you on the basis of the contact information that you have given on that field on the Google form or another forms. So one must clearly and neatly fill this information because it is very necessary and mandatory. And another mistakes like some of the students may fill different documents which are not required, like different certifications. So one has to read information clearly what they are expecting, and then one has to fill the appropriate documents over there.
Yes, definitely. I think students must read all the information very carefully before filling the forms. Now, I also think that many students fill the form twice, and again, that creates one of the big
Yes,
issues later on, right?
right.
Right. Okay. Now, also, I think filling the forms at the last moment, very last moment, also creates a lot of havoc because sometimes the servers might also be down. So, I think
Yeah,
students need to be very careful while filling the forms as well.
yes,
So,
definitely.
right. So, moving on, how many rounds did Accenture have?
Okay, so Accenture has 3 rounds. First one was like the online MCQ test. The second was communication, and the third round was like interview, HR plus uh, like TR, technical interview. So there were basically 3 rounds.
Okay. So, first round was the MCQs. So, does the first round have coding?
Yes, it includes coding as well, the competitive coding. So there were two codes. One is like basic or medium level, and another code was like difficult level. So there were two codes.
So, how was the MCQs of Accenture? What was the difficulty level? Like, I'm sure it will be quantitative, aptitude, logical, and English, right? These might be the
Yes.
major parts of the round. So, what was the difficulty level of these questions?
Yeah, so the difficulty level was like in the same manner. Some of the questions are easy, some of them are medium level, and like after that, some of them are hard. So same for quantitative as well as coding and for English.
Okay. Samruddhi, from when did you start preparing for the campus placements? Or, for what platforms did you use and what trainings did you undergo?
Okay, so from my third year onwards, I have started preparing for my placements. Our college provided CRT training, that is campus recruitment training. So it was amazing training. Like we got a 200 hours of training that we got from our college itself. So it was a great training. We understood and we undergo lot many different portions of training, for example aptitude training, then verbal training, as well as communication training, and coding, competitive coding questions solving training. So there were a lot many trainings provided by our college. So like we are grateful to our college, like they have provided us such wonderful training platforms. And apart from that, I have been practicing different coding platforms such as HackerRank, HackerEarth. So one may follow these platforms for developing their coding abilities as well as their coding approaches. So yes.
Okay, okay. And I see that you've been since you have been actually practicing for placement for quite some time, and I think the training has also helped you crack uh, the company.
Yes.
And yes, consistency is, I think, the main key here because
Right.
yeah, right. Many people take the training sessions very lightly, but I think after listening to you, everyone will start focusing on the training sessions because they
Yes.
now understand how important it is.
Yeah, as you have mentioned, consistency and consistently being active is also important. See, many of the students attend these sessions but they are not active. So being active is also important and necessary key. So one can being active on that sessions, giving like answers to the teachers, or like uh, like any activity. So one must have to be active throughout the session so one can get
Yes.
all the information and knowledge fully about that.
Being present is important, right?
Yeah, right.
I think the online platforms have all has shortened our concentration span, but we it is our duty to remain active, right? Right.
Yes.
Well said, Samruddhi. Yeah. So again, coding questions. What the difficulty level you said was easy to medium, but
Yeah.
Samruddhi, since you are from E&TC background, how did you focus on coding? Competitive coding.
Yeah.
Extra efforts. How much did you take to crack the questions?
Yes. Always, like as you have mentioned, I'm from electronics and telecommunication background. It is bit difficult to crack competitive, the difficult part coding questions. But again, if you practice for a longer time, then you understand the key. Okay, so in the problem statement, this is the requirement, and you have to build this kind of logic. So sometimes what I do, based on problem statement or requirement, I choose a programming language. So I personally prefer C++ and Python. So based upon the problem statement, I choose the language. For example, in some of the statement there is requirement of array handling, or some like difficult part of data structure. So that time I use C++. Or some of the code require time complexity, as well as they check the different complexities. So there I have used Python language. So I choose language or logic based upon the problem statement. So one can build that thing, like building up the logic by solving lot many problems. So you can do like daily 2 or 3 problems. So this will definitely help you.
Okay. Samruddhi, you mentioned about C++ and Python, but is it really necessary to know multiple languages, or knowing even one will do?
Yeah, knowing one language also help you, but like being like working in this technical field or in corporate world, so instead of procedure language, object oriented languages has given a more preference. So one must know the at least one object oriented language, whether it is a C++, Python, Java, anyone, but at least one object oriented language. And other than that, you can learn R, hash languages, anything else also.
Okay, okay, okay. Okay, so knowing too many is not necessary, but knowing a little bit of everything is good. But if I'm really finding coding a little difficult, I think knowing even one will do, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So moving on, Samriddhi, you said that there was a communication round. So
Yeah.
how is this communication round, and what is it exactly, and what are the questions that they're asking? Could you please elaborate on that?
Yeah, sure. So the second round of Accenture was communication round. So in that communication round, it was a like a platform based communication round. So there was a system developed, or we can say an AI or some software is developed, where we have to give our tests. So there were, I guess, 7 parts, 7 different portions that we have to face. So some of the like at starting, like there were very simple questions, like we have to read the sentence, simple sentence. This is a bottle. This is a glass. They are checking your accent as well as correct pronunciation over there in that communication round. In further routes, they are asking to record our 2 minutes video about like your hobbies, your career plans, what do you think about Accenture. So these are the just small topics, and you have to record your 2 to 3 minutes video, like a recording over there, audio. And next round, like basic questions, like simple questions uh, like which organ in our body pumps the blood, like the heart. So such kind of questions are also asked in that communication route to check your like instant answer giving ability. So that was checked. Yeah, so this is all about communication. So what is the motive or motto behind this communication round was like to check your pronunciation. Second thing, your like grammar part or your confidence. So these are the main things that they were expecting from the student candidates.
Okay, Samriddhi, you mentioned about accent, but many of the students may be from the vernacular medium. So do you really think that this might hamper them going into Accenture by any chance?
Yeah, but the communication round was not an elimination round. So
Okay. Mhm.
yeah, so that may not hamper like one.
Okay, so that's perfectly fine. I think
Yes.
it's just they're just checking some abilities of the particular
Yeah.
student and nothing more than that. So the students from the vernacular medium need not worry that, oh, I don't know the correct accent or something.
Yeah.
Having the local accent is perfectly fine.
Perfect.
Just confidence is very important, as you said. Speaking with
Right.
confidence is very important.
Right. The confidence as well as time management. You have to answer that question within the time. Like there are only 4 to 5 seconds given to you, and you have to think and then answer.
Oh, nice. So I think it's very tricky to round,
Yeah,
right?
it was a tricky and challenging round, but it has a fun element as well. So it was a good
Good
experience.
challenge for to test ourselves as well.
Right.
Samriddhi, now moving on, you said there are interviews.
Right.
So then there is a technical round and there is a HR round. So how did you prepare for the technical round?
Okay. So, being from electronics and telecommunication background, I have prepared my core subject as well as my the coding part as or the IT part, IT skills that I have developed during the 4 years of my journey. So I have prepared both the parts because I know that both kind of questions will be asked to me. So I have prepared both the portions, the core portion as well as the IT field questions. So yeah, that was my strategy to prepare the questions.
Okay, so I'll try to go a little deeper into that. Since Samruddhi, as you said, from E&TC background. Now, in E&TC, what are they asking anything very deep or is it very basic? And some students tend to skip altogether the electronics part, saying that since it's an IT-based company, we do not require the core knowledge. So, is that a right strategy to do? And how is one supposed to prepare for such interviews?
Yeah. So, like, yeah, your point is right. Like, some of the students skip that part, but at least one must know the basic understanding of their subject, as we will be learning this subject throughout our 4 years. So, basic knowledge is like required. Like, one must know the what is electronics, what are the components that we use in daily basis. So, that one must know, not in deep, but at least you should have your good conceptual understanding of your all the subjects that you are learning from 4 years. So, and along with that, your IT skills should be good enough to like give the proper and correct answers to their questions. So, yes, this is important.
IT part in the sense basic of any object-oriented programming language, right?
Yes, they ask like some of the questions like the data structures, how we can implement those data structures in day-to-day life. Where do we can see like these data structures or their applications? So one must know this part.
Okay. So this was like the preparation part, and I think you have quite prepared well for the TR round. But Samriddhi, I'll ask you, what did they ask you for your TR round?
Okay.
Basically, like did they were questions based on your resume?
Yes, some of the questions were there, like from my resume. So in my interview round, so there was not separate technical or HR round. So it was a mix, technical plus HR round. At start, they asked me about my introduction. So introduction is a very important because if you give your correct introduction, like it is the first impression. So if you give your 100% and full confidence in like if you show that, then like you can give like you can consider it's a good thing. So they asked me first introduction, so I introduced myself within 4 to 5 minutes, and then uh, he asked me about my projects. So the two projects I have mentioned in my resume, so he asked me about the projects, how I met with my deadlines, like what was team members present in my project team, and what was my role, what was their role, like how what kind of guidance you get from the teachers for your project. So these kind of questions were asked for my on my project. And later on they asked me about simple questions based upon data structures. And yeah, one more thing, they asked me about the technologies, the new technologies or trends. So like I suggest students, so one must know the new trends, for example what are uh, happening in the industry. So there are so many trends coming out like IoT, artificial intelligence, machine learning. So one must know that at least the basic, what is their working, what is their application area. So we often uses Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, this kind of applications, but we don't know the background, what is happening in background, what kind of algorithms they are using. So at least one must know, being curious is more important. By curiosity one must know like what is the basic thing happening behind. So it's a good thing to know about that, so one can give answers regarding to that as well. So that kind of technical questions asked to me. And talking about HR, he asked me about like, what do you think about Accenture? Like, why want to join the Accenture? So one has to do the complete study about like whatever company you are applied for. One must know the like what company does in the industry, what kind of products they are, like software products they have, what kind of market they have, what kind of customers they have. So you have to do your complete homework for that company while sitting for the interview. And another HR questions, yeah, I guess that was like about the HR. Yeah.
Okay, so for clearing an interview, your introduction, then being confident, your resume, as well as researching and doing a good homework of the company is very, very important. Okay, so I think you did a very good homework. That is why you got into Accenture. Okay. So talking about resume is an important aspect of any interview. So Samruddhi, I would like
Right.
you to explain a little about your resume. What exactly do you put in your resume? How long is your resume?
Okay, so like my resume is also one page resume. So many of the students get confused about in between resume and CV. So like, resume is always one page, and your curricular vitality CV is like, up to 2 to 3 pages. Like all the activities you have done, like for your within the 4 years, so that you can put in that curricular vitality or like CV. And in resume, it should be a short and crisp. For example, you can mention first your academic details. Like first important is your name, then your contact information, your address, your portfolio if you have. Then second is your academic details, all the academic details. Then third important thing is your projects. So projects are very important, they play very important role in your interview process. So you have to mention your projects that you can talk about, you can explain them in very well manner. So one must include good projects.
Let me continue here, Samruddhi. Project in the sense, since it's an IT-based company, did you do any software-based project or your electronics project? Was it an electronics project that you put in your resume? How was it? Which one did you put, and which one do you suggest students to put?
Yeah, so I have put both. Like, for my first year, first year and second year project based learning, there I have implemented a wholly electronic project. But in third year, I have implemented like combination of hardware plus software. So software part is bit more. So I have implemented like using object detection module different. The YOLO I have used there. So that was a software part, so software related project. So I have mentioned that. But one important point is like, one must understand like the whole project thing, that he or she should tell everything about the project. Like the conceptual understanding of that project is very important, because what interviewer is asking or seeing in that candidate is like how he knows that project in very well manner. So one must know your project, his or her project in very good manner. That is very important.
Yeah. So we should be able to explain the project very well because that is what they
Right.
ask in interviews. Okay,
Yes.
Samriddhi. So after projects, you might be putting in internships, right?
Yes. So like, internships is the optional part. Some of like, if you do the internship, so you can mention it. If you haven't done anything in like in the internship part, so you can skip that part. But if you have done in any, like for example, whether it is in technical, non-technical, managerial level, so you can mention that internship based upon your job profile or a job description that you are applying for. So Yes, so in my resume, I have mentioned some of the internships that I have done. So yes, so one can put the internship as well.
After internships, then you put, have you mentioned courses?
Yes, if you have done very good courses from good platforms, so one can mention those courses. It's not a mandatory, but one can put it on your like resume. So it's good to put it on.
And then there will be soft skills also, right? So what soft skills do you mention in your resume?
Yeah. So in my soft skill part, I have mentioned like public speaking, communication, leadership, team working. So these are the important soft skills. If you have, you can definitely mention that in your resume.
Right. Talking about soft skills, I think we should also have examples with us so that we can justify the soft skills that we have, right? Because
Yes,
just putting in doesn't make a lot of sense, but having experience that will justify these soft skills are very important.
definitely.
After, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yeah,
So just putting in it doesn't make, but that also plays an important role, and I think nobody should skip that part of soft skills. Then after
definitely.
that, you might have put extracurriculars, right?
Yes.
So what kind
So
of
extra,
extracurriculars have been you been doing, like, and what have you mentioned in the resume?
yeah. So extracurricular and co-curricular activities plays a very important role. So if you like along with your academics projects, one must have the extra things that you are doing. Like for example, some students are very good at their different like hobbies, like for example dancing, the non-technical things, dancing, playing and different instruments. They have cleared some of the examinations of those. Along with that, in engineering, like so many colleges, different colleges organize different competitions related to robotics, new different trends. So along with that, some of the elocution competitions, speech competitions. So one can go for these competitions, at least participate there. Winning prize is a different part, but one can participate in different student clubs of their colleges, as well as one can participate in the different competitions, for example tech fest, IIT Bombay Tech Fest, or the Mind Spark of COEP. So there are so many competitions. If you search it on Google, you can find out list of the competitions. So one can search and apply for that, like participate in those competitions. It will definitely boost your confidence. So this is the most important thing. Participating in the competition is the winning part. Whether you get the prize is different thing, but participation is the far most important thing. And and along with that, I have to mention here, I am an IEEE member and active volunteer. So IEEE is a student organization for like, it is a not only restricted to like India or nation. So it is an international organization. So student will get the more exposure. Like you will make good connections, good network. Along with that, you will build up your confidence, your communication skill, your management skills. So these are the good benefits of being a IEEE member as well as volunteer. So my suggestion to all the juniors or all the students who are in the in the field of engineering, one can definitely consider the IEEE organization, and just give a chance to like be part, being part of IEEE. I can definitely tell you, like it will groom you like nothing. So it's like awesome experience. You will get an awesome experience.
Okay, okay. But here again, I am Samruddhi. You have been active from your first year till your final year. Many competition, you're participating many. You have won many of them. You have been a volunteer. Did a one-page resume suffice all your needs? Like, did you cram in everything, or you had to skip some of it?
Yeah, so I have, yeah, as you said, I have done so many, like I have participated in lot many competitions. So I have chose some of the important things and I have put it on my resume. So yeah, that's
Okay, so the important ones that we can justify and what are important you have mentioned in your resume. I think the rest of that you might have covered in your introduction when you're giving it to the interviewer, right?
right. Yes.
So, okay, so that's all about Samruddhi's resume, and I'm sure in very detail you have mentioned, and it's going to be a real help to all the students out there who are trying to figure out how to write a resume. Thank you so much for sharing that, Samruddhi. And
Yeah.
now, since you mentioned that extracurricular helped you, does it help you in any other way other than obviously it is for confidence, but in your interview also, have you mentioned your extracurriculars as well?
Yes, definitely. Every time I have mentioned my extracurricular activities, and if one of my interview, the interviewer, like, he was shocked. Okay, so in 4 years you have done so many things. So that was the one of my interview where I was talking for 5 to 6 minutes only about my introduction. So he was a bit shocked. So you have done so many things, and how that you have managed both the things, academics as well as your extracurricular. So that was a good thing happened in my one of the interview. So yeah, it's a great thing. Along with confidence, you get experience how to work within the team, and like team working, leadership. You build a lot many soft skills.
Okay, that's good to hear that you got to speak about so much about yourself. A 5 minutes introduction. I mean, how many of us have that much to speak about ourselves? It's really fascinating to know that you have a 5 minute introduction, Samriddhi. Now moving on, Samriddhi, since from last 2 years we have been hit with the pandemic, do you think the pandemic has ever affected your placement? And since many of the students are very worried that this pandemic, they're not meeting their seniors, they're not getting to meet the faculty, the kind of syllabus, the understanding also may not be to that level as they might have during normal times. So do you think the pandemic has at any time affected you that way?
Yes. So from last 2 years, like we have faced the pandemic and their effects. So all things are like moved towards online mode. So everything like online placements, online lectures, online sessions. So we will be attending all the sessions from past 2 years. So yes, like in my case, like what I personally think is like uh, due to this online mode, the gap is built between the teachers and student. We don't have that physical connection right now with our teachers. So that is the one part, or like we can say the disadvantage of online. Other than that, there are so many advantage as well. So one student, or he or she can explore the different like education platforms, the online platforms as well. So you can go and learn from different platforms. You can build different skills, uh, if you take the good advantage of the pandemic or this online mode. But the gap between student and teacher is there. I'll like to mention that. But along with that, now we became used to with the situations. So now every student, teacher, right from our elder parents and everyone got used to with these situations. So now they know how to start the meeting, how to converse with the students, with the like another member people. So yeah, that's a good thing. Like we are moving from physical to like virtual or online mode. It's a good thing. So yes.
Okay. So my last question for you, Samriddhi, is I'll divide into two parts. Is there anything that you wish you could have done, or something that you wish you would have known earlier, And what is your message to the people who are listening to you?
Okay. So like from first year onwards, like I'm more into technical stuff. So from first year, second year, I always focused on the technical competitions, technical skills to build technical skills. But in third year, my third year, first semester, get to know about IEEE and their events. So like one of the thing is in my mind, like if I should get to know about IEEE in my first year, so that will be like amazing thing. So that one regret is there, because other than that, like if you are listening to me guys, trust me, if you're a part of an engineering student, you are a part of an engineering institute, you can go for different student clubs or different student organization. IEEE is one of them. So you can take leverage and advantages of such organizations. Definitely you will get a lot many connections, good networks, like teachers from different sections, from different area or regions, not only related to India or different states of India, like outside the India, USA, China, Dubai. So you'll get a more exposure. One can find their actual position. Okay, so we can see like, okay, so I'm standing here it now, and like so many students out there are doing so many stuffs. So we can understand that thing only by participating or by taking first step into those organizations. So that is very important, and every student must participate in one of the organization, student organization. Yeah.
Okay, so that's really nice, Samruddhi, that you've spoken so much to us students. Thanks for sparing your time, coming over and giving so much about your journey to Accenture. All the best for all your future endeavors. And thank you so much for coming.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you for inviting me here. So it was like nice talking to you. So thank you so much for giving me the opportunity as well. Thank you.
Thank you.